Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Y'all, the winter storm is headed our way. And although I was cozy in my house, I made myself get up and come down to the greenhouse to take care of a few things before the winter storm hits. So if you're brand new to me, my name is Barbara. I live in Tennessee, so I'm in the South. And for those of you that live up north, you're probably thinking, girl, y'all don't have no winter weather. It is winter weather for us because in the South, we don't get it often. So when we get it, it's a big ordeal. And we don't have the infrastructure to be able to combat it like the states that get it all the time. So I'm sure most of you know kind of what's going on in the country is going to be hitting the South. And I think all the way up through Carolina. And I don't know if it goes past that. But the winter storm is supposed to be hitting tonight around midnight. We're supposed to be getting predicted snow and ice over the weekend all the way through Sunday. And then after Sunday, the temperatures are going to dip down even further and we're going to get into single digits. Again, that doesn't happen very often here. And so as you guys know, if you've been here before, I'm in my hot tunnel now. And so for the most part, it does pretty well in the fall and winter. We do have some stuff covered, as you can see behind us, that we covered earlier this week because the temperature dipped down to like 17 degrees. And it does pretty well. But once we get to single digits, like you can see over here, back there, none of that stuff is covered. It has been covered in the past, but it usually does pretty good, 15 degrees, because back there is cabbages, collard greens, and Brussels sprouts. So they are really hardy. But because it's going to get to like 5 degrees, is the lowest temperature I saw for like 2 or 3 days on end, I'm going to go ahead and take precaution and go ahead and cover it. Now, ideally, what I would do is I would harvest all of these collard greens and go ahead and take them in the house and get them ready for the freezer. So that way, if for some reason the frost is too much and the coverage is not enough to protect it, then I don't lose at least all of the ones that I already have. But I am on a severe time crunch today. I literally just don't even have time. It has been a crazy, busy week. And so I'm doing the best that I can. And sometimes that's all that you have. So I'm going to grab, there's some covers already there. I'm going to go ahead and cover those that I already have covers. And then I'm going to see what we have extra. And I'm going to do like a double layer. So let me get to it. Y'all, it was such a busy week this week that it was just busy. And you have those weeks where you have so many things to do and they all are important, but you have to prioritize. But even in your prioritization, they all are important. Like they all have their own weight of priority. And that's what I felt like this week. I just couldn't get it all done. And in these moments, I try to give myself grace. So I'm out here at the last minute, y'all, trying to get this stuff covered. And when I say I was warm and cozy in my house, because I had already been out earlier today looking for some things, and I come back in the house, I'm like, oh, I do not want to go back out there. But I thought about if I lose all my stuff and I didn't even push through to go out there, then I would really feel bad. So if for some reason I do lose my stuff, at least I can say, well, you did go out there to try and salvage it. So I just get my mind right and like, I got to get it done. And on this particular day, I didn't have any help. It was just me. So my husband was tied up preparing for a sermon. So he was not able to help me. And of course, we didn't want to take him away from the Lord's work. My daughter was busy and doing something else for me that I needed to get done. And my son was at work. So it was just me. And so the garden princess had to get out here and get to it. Okay. So what you see me doing is just, first of all, I already had covers down from an earlier time this season where we had to cover the stuff, but it hasn't been covered in probably over a month just because the temperatures have been mild. And like I said, this stuff right here that you see me covering now are mostly collard greens and Brussels sprouts, and they're pretty hardy to at least 20 degrees. So at 20 degrees, it's not a big deal. And then one time this week, it did get down to 17, but one night is not going to rock any ship because these are well established. Now, on the right-hand side, you see that this is actually insect cover. You can see that it's much more sheer and not as thick as this frost cover to the left of it. So I'm going to have to come back and put a frost cover on it. But since this was already here, I just went ahead and covered it. It'll give some protection, but obviously it won't give enough protection for 8 degrees and what the temperature is going to be. But I'll go ahead and do that. And then at some point, I'm going to go back and double cover. But right now, I'm just trying to get the initial covers on. So now go to the other side to cover what is here. So today I'm really focusing on the stuff that is in ground. So if you've been here, you know that I actually have 6 raised beds that is in front of this. And those are already covered. My husband covered those earlier this week when the temperature got down to like 17, but he did not cover these. I'm less concerned about those raised beds, not because they're raised beds, but because of what's in them. And so in a situation like this where I'm trying to prioritize and I have very limited time, I'm going to prioritize the crops that I need the most. So if I have to give up a crop, then I'm going to figure out which one am I more likely that I would be more upset to lose than not. So in my raised beds right now, I have some arugula that is just kind of getting established, so it may not make it, but again, it's a very new, and I'm not a big fan of arugula. I'm just growing it to say that I can, if I'm being quite honest, and I'm just trying to incorporate it in some salads, but it's not like my number one. And all the other things that are in those raised beds, we harvested a ton. So I got all the spinach that was there last time, so if it dies, there's nothing left on it but just, you know, the plant that I left from actually harvesting. And then I have carrots, and carrots should be fine because it's in the ground and it's a root crop. So it's really hard to kill those. They should be fine because they're going to be protected by the ground. And the soil temperature will be obviously higher than the 8 degrees. Okay, so I got the initial covering done, except on that very last row. I looked at the temperature again, and it's worse than what I thought. So we have at least 8 days showing right now, and that's as far as the forecast goes out. We have 8 days where it's going to be below 20 degrees. So it's going to be 5, 7, 8, and the highest out of all those was 11. So it's definitely going to be a challenge because remember, the greenhouse does protect it. It's under protected culture, but whatever temperature it is at night is the same temperature that it's inside the greenhouse. So if it's 11 degrees outside, it's going to be 11 degrees in here. The thing that helps is that it does not have the wind to combat with, or rain and sleet and things like that. But the temperature is the temperature. So when I'm thinking about what's going to survive, what's not, it really depends on the frost tolerance of what I have out here. So cabbages are usually good to about 20 degrees. Like I said, it's been below 20 degrees. They haven't been covered and they've been fine because they're well established. But getting down to 8, I'm not so sure. Collard greens are good to like 10 degrees again. So they should be fine. But when it's sustained like that, there's a challenge. Brussels sprouts are pretty cold hardy. Kale is pretty cold hardy. Like I have kale in my GREENSTALK outside my house. I went out there today to do something. Y'all, first of all, why your girl thought she was gonna grow in green stalks this fall and winter, if I come up with this again, y'all just tell me, girl, don't do that. Because when I tell you I have not done anything with those green stalks outside my house, but when I went out there today, everything was dead except the kale. The kale is like, you not killing me. I'm gonna be to the good. So the kale has been out there uncovered all fall and winter. So the lowest the temperatures have probably been is like 16, 17. Kale is still rocking on. Kale is very, very hardy. But y'all, I ain't got much time. I don't know why I'm yapping. So what I've done now, we have more covers, which is good. Again, it's a good thing to invest in good covers because these covers we use year after year after year. And I'll tell you what I'm using, but let me go ahead and get this done. I'm gonna go ahead and double up the cover. Okay, so the covers that I'm using, in case you are new, these are Agribon, that is the brand name, and the covers that I'm putting on right now, which are the frost cover, is Agribon AG30. You can get them in different weights, so there's a 15, a 19, and a 30. I use the 19, that's the sheer one that you see on this particular row I'm working on now, which is more of an insect cover, so it's not going to be as hardy as the temperatures. It's not going to protect as much when the temperatures get down low, but this frost cover is much, much thicker. I get them from Tarps of America online, and they come in various lengths and widths, so you can kind of get what you need. These rows right here are 45 feet in length, and so I think the cover that I have, it might be a 50 if I'm not mistaken. But you can see that it goes all the way down to the end, which is nice. And these covers, this is my third or fourth. On some of these covers, it's my 4th year. On some of them, it's my 3rd year of using these covers. So it is a great, great, great investment. When I first started gardening, I used row covers from Amazon. and they only lasted me one season. Now, they were cheaper, but again, you kind of get what you pay for. And these to me are not overly expensive. I don't remember because I got half one year and then I invested in more the next year. So even though I wasn't able to do enough for the garden the first time, because again, you have to kind of spread out your costs if you're living on a budget. But I want to say that maybe one of these might be, I don't know, let's just say $25 or $30. And again, I have a big space, so that's why I said I got half one year and half another year. But y'all, they've lasted me. And so at the end of each season, we fold them up and we put them in a big, huge Rubbermaid tote, and then we pull them out again next year. There's only a couple of spots where there may be a hole, and that's just from maybe a sandbag was on it, we stepped on it and like pulled it or something like that. But other than that, they are in good condition, in good shape. They're thick, they're durable, and I cannot say enough great things about them. So Tarps of America, the brand is Agribon, and this is a 30, but you can get whatever weight you need, and then obviously you can get the lengths that you need to fit your size beds or garden. They also sell it through Johnny Seed as well, but Tarps of America, they have all the different lengths and stuff, and so it was just easier for me to get them from there. But great investment. I've done the best that I absolutely can with being by myself and short on time, and so the rest I'm gonna pray and leave it in the Lord's hands. Now ideally you want to water your things before a frost, but it's already too cold for me to water. You typically want to water your plants when it's above 40 degrees, and it's not above 40 degrees. And so I'm not going to take the risk. They'll just be dry, and a lot of them are mulch, so maybe the mulch will protect them. But ideally you want them to be watered because it'll help protect the plant cell walls from breaking, which causes the death or the brown or the limp leaves. But we're not living in an ideal situation today. We are doing the best that we can, and sometimes that's all you have. I will pray over it, and what happens is going to be what happened, but I have faith that we will not lose everything. But I hope that if you guys are in the path of the storm, I hope that not only your food is safe, but I hope that you and your family are safe. I hope that you've taken the necessary precautions to prepare. I talked maybe a year or so ago about emergency preparedness as we were talking through our emergency prep plan this past week, with our kids and my husband. I realized that we have made progress, but we're still not there yet. I was out today trying to find some propane, the singles, to use on our camp stove in case we lose power. Now we would have to be cooking outside because it's it's going to be very, very cold, but I could not find any. So that was one thing that we didn't get to. And so one of the things that really has stood out to me as I've been on this journey, and especially this week as the winter storm is coming, is that preparation really happens before the crisis happens. Preparation happens before the forecaster or the meteorologist says, hey, a storm is coming. It actually happens in the quiet times. It actually happens better when the sun is shining, not when it's about to snow. But that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. At this point, it's here. Like, it's going to be here in a few hours if all goes as they have said. And so we've done all that we can do. And again, I don't feel like we are 100% prepared, but we are more prepared than we were 2 years ago when things like this were happening. But I pray that the Lord will protect us all. Let me know in the comments where you live if the storm is headed your way, in your pathway, and hopefully we will all stay connected over this time frame. I will try to give an update if we have any significant outages, or just to make sure that, let you guys know that I'm okay and hoping that you're okay. Y'all remember, this is part of the journey, right? It's not the fun part. It's not the sexy part. It's a little bit anxiety producing part, because I'm like, man, I've worked hard for this food and I'm kicking myself because I know that I should have came out here and harvested the collard greens. Remember, we did harvest earlier in the week and we did all that we could that day. And I was supposed to come back out here and do the collard greens, and I just never made it. And now I'm out of time. I am out of time. But thank you guys for joining me on this video today. I pray that everyone is safe. Remember, y'all, this is part of the journey. Let's grow together. I'll see you next time, friends.